You can really fine-tune the overdrive from really subtle, still vintage sounding,
into the green dreaming and hiding,
to something very extreme.
Into the green dreaming and hiding.
Boys and girls, we all love dirty sounding vocals, right? Slightly saturated, slightly over the top sounding, slightly driven. I'm not talking about a full-blown distortion effect or something like this. No, I'm talking about something that is a little more sophisticated. If vocals are, on the edge of being distorted. And you can hear that in a lot of contemporary rock and even pop productions, but also in vintage rock, because this is one way to make your vocals sound more interesting, to give them more mojo, give them more character. Yeah, just make them stand out. And today I want to show you 3 different plugins, actually pretty affordable plugins that I use to make your vocals sound dirty without sounding like an effect. Here we go. This is a very spontaneous video. Just yesterday I had this vocal session with my beloved guys from the Alligator Wine, one of the greatest bands in the world. They're playing vintage rock and they're fantastic. They play vintage rock without the use of any guitars. Just check them out. Later in this video you can also win something, of course. You can win an Alligator Wine t-shirt or an Alligator Wine LP, vinyl, whatever you prefer, so stay tuned. So yesterday I was tracking vocals with Rob, the main singer, and we were doing 4 songs of the upcoming album. And today you're actually gonna hear a song that is not even released yet. We're still working on that song. We have just tracked the vocals, and I want to use that material to show you how I do that. So here we got the main vocal track. And like I told you, we're in the middle of a production, so nothing is mixed yet. This is totally rough, okay? Totally rough. But I have added some effects to the vocals to, push them into the right direction and to show you what kind of effect I mean. We're just gonna listen to one part here. This is the verse. Let's check it out.
I left the scene taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding. Oh God, I sound just like you do.
And that's nice. If it gets louder.
You are the treat inside my body, always around my beacon of youth. To the moon.
As you can hear, the vocals are slightly distorted, slightly overdriven, but we are so used to that sound, it just sounds nice to our ears. Let's have a listen to those vocals soloed.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
So there's also a tape delay. Let me turn that one off first.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
And you hear how subtle yet present that distortion is. This one is actually a mix. It's 2 plugins, but I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm doing here. So let's mute that track. I have an exact copy here, but without any of the plugins, which sounds like this.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
So this is the clean signal. I used quite some compression on the way in with my distressor, but nothing else. And the microphone is a Neumann GLM 193, which actually is a pretty dark, well, let's say natural sounding microphone compared to a lot of other typical vocal mics that are a lot brighter. Okay, so let's talk about the first plugin that I tend to use for this, and that is a Tube Screamer plugin. So we have different options here. For example, I have the Tube Screamer from Universal Audio, but I think that one is pretty expensive. But I'm also going to use another one from Overloud, and this is the THU guitar plugin, and I'm actually using it for the first time. Let's find a Tube Screamer here. There it is. And what you want to do, so this one is bypassed, is you will put the tone all the way up and the drive all the way down and level to taste, whatever. Let's have a listen how this sounds.
I left the scene, taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
And as you can hear, a tube screamer is a fantastic vocal overdrive. And the only problem is that there's still too much distortion for the sound we're after, and it sounds a little hard to my ears. Most of the time you can roll off the tone just a little bit. Let's do that now.
I left the scene, taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
This sounds nice. You know, this just rolls off the highs a little bit and makes things less harsh. The other thing we want to do is we want to reduce the distortion. Even with the gain all the way down, there's too much distortion. And as far as I can see, you cannot control the input level of either of those Tube Screamer plugins. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a plugin, and you can use any plugin that has a output knob or output fader. And you want to put it right before the Tube Screamer. And this means that the output of this new plugin will control the input level of our Tube Screamer. And this means we can reduce the distortion of the Tube Screamer. Very smart. Let's do that.
I left the scene, taking the highway.
So you see, if I go down 17 dB, the signal gets very clean, and I just have the EQ curve of the Tube Screamer.
I left the scene, taking the highway.
And the more you push it, you get that distortion. So this is one very smart way to get that Tube Screamer distortion, but less than by just using the plugin. So this setting, minus 8 dB.
Left the scene, taking the highway.
Sounds nice.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
Very nice overtones, very nice overdrive.
Into the green, dreaming and hiding. Taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
Very nice. One more thing you can do is you can reduce the low end before you hit the distortion.
I left the scene, taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
Which makes things sound a little more controlled. The Tube Screamer is a great tool for overdriving vocals. And the trick is to use this here, to use like a fader before you hit the plugin. So you can fine control the amount of gain you want from pretty much nothing, which is still going to sound a little lo-fi because you're going through the circuit and it's going to have the frequency curve of the Tube Screamer, or you can, you know, push it to get more distortion. So this was the first one, Tube Screamer. I think every one of you has a Tube Screamer plugin. Try using it on your vocals. The next one is my favorite, actually. And this one is one of the greatest sounding vintage delay plugins on earth. This is the Audiority Plexi tape. And it sounds like this. This is the default.
Left the scene, taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
And those are some of the most sexy sounding delays I've ever heard. So this is one of the greatest clones out there. I prefer this one to the Universal Audio version. But the cool thing is, what this plugin can do is you can actually turn off the delays and just use the amp of the Plexi tape. You can turn off the noise, which is also handy. So I'll turn off the delay here, the echo, because we don't want that effect. Right now, we just want the distortion. And let me see. Sounds like this.
Left the scene, taking the highway.
And you can push the record level here. And this is so nice.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
And then you can switch the preamp from early to late. We were just listening to late. For vocals, early is better because it sounds less cloudy and a little more in your face.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
And you can really fine-tune the overdrive from really subtle, still vintage sounding,
Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
to something very extreme.
Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
I also really like the EQ here.
Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
So this is an instant vintage yet modern overdrive effect that I love.
Oh God, I sound just like you do. Always alone inside my attic. Breaking the glass brings me the wound.
Sometimes the Plexi tape can get a little harsh in the upper mids.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
So you might want to add an EQ after the plugin, like reducing maybe around 3K or something.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
Ah, here it hurts, so that is 2.5.
Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
And you can see the low end build up after the plugin, so you really want to low cut this.
Oh God, I sound just like you do. Always alone inside my attic.
You could also use a dynamic EQ here, you know, because we want the overdrive, we want things to slightly distort, but we don't want the hardness that is sometimes coming with the overdrive effect. So I really recommend to get this plugin because not only is the overdrive, the distortion fantastic, but also, let's open another instance, the delay sounds great.
I left the scene, taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding. God, I sound just like you do.
Fantastic. There's a link below to the Plexi tape. Get it. Get it. But we have another one, which also comes from Audiority. And this is the Blue Phase. And we all know what this is, right? I'm sure there are other Fuzz Phase plugins out there. And this one, unlike other Fuzz pedals, works really nice for vocals, if you ask me. You just have to turn down the fuzz. That's what you have to do. So let's have a listen. Bypass.
I left the scene, taking the highway.
Engage.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon. Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
And you can hear a very subtle and nice distortion with a lot more high end than the other ones. So both the Plexi tape and the Tube Screamer are darker sounding. The Tube Screamer especially because of the inbuilt filter.
Hands, silver the moon.
So if you don't want to lose any high end, yeah, you might want to use this.
Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
And that's all you have to do.
In the highway.
Maybe you want to cut this a little bit.
Blood on my hands, silver the moon.
So it sounds a little more vintage.
Into the green, dreaming and hiding.
Nice.
Oh God, I sound just like you do.
And that's a nice vocal sound, right? A vintage vocal sound, slightly distorted with just 2 clicks.
Always alone inside my attic. Breaking the glass brings me the wound. You are the treat inside my body. Always around my beacon of youth. Howl to the moon.
Oh yeah. Very nice. So I know there are millions of other options, other plugins that you can use to maybe get a similar effect or something. But those 3 plugins are pretty affordable if you ask me, and not everybody is using them, and I don't think a lot of people are using them on vocals, and that is what makes it interesting, because especially these days you want to make your vocals shine, you want to make them sound special, right? But in the meantime, just download the demo versions. You find 3 or 4 links below and check out those plugins.
Always alone inside my attic. Breaking the glass brings me the wound. You are the treat inside my body. Always around, my beacon of youth. Always alone inside my attic. Breaking the glass brings me the wound. You are the treat inside my body. Always around, my beacon of youth. Always alone inside my attic. Breaking the glass brings me the wound. You are the treat inside my body. Always around, my beacon of youth.
I hope this was an inspiration to you to make your vocals sound more dirty and more sexy in the future, right? Let me know in the comments. So, I told you can win something, right? I told you can win something. We're giving away either an Alligator Wine shirt or an Alligator Wine vinyl LP, I think, last album, to 4 people. So after you have won, you can choose whatever you prefer. You know, maybe you don't have a vinyl player, then you take the shirt, and so on. What you have to do, 2 things. Very complicated again. I'm always trying to make this as idiot-proof as possible. Sometimes it works. So first thing you want to do is you subscribe to my email list below. There's a link below, subscribe. That's what you do, okay? Next thing is you go to Facebook. If you don't have a Facebook account, get one, okay? You go to Facebook and you find the band Alligator Wine. There's a link below as well, idiot-proof, and you will like this band. And among the people that have liked the band, let's say within the next week, we will choose 4 people who win, okay? 2 things, remember. I can't remember. No, I can't. 2 things. So subscribe to my email list, link below, and like Alligator Wine on Facebook. So I will do a Beer with Kohle video very soon where I announce the winner of the SE Electronic ribbon mics. I'm still getting so many emails and I'm sorry I can't answer all those emails. I think it's 1,200 already, so I can't do that. Yeah, still want to do some more guitar videos, but I'm really heavily booked in the next weeks. I'm doing a lot of recording sessions here, so I'm afraid I can't do as many videos as in the last weeks, but I'm trying to do a video every now and then, and yeah, as much as I can, okay? What I want you to do is subscribe to this channel on YouTube and ring the bell so you don't miss any videos. And I love it when you guys share the videos on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever, you know. There are too many people out there that have not been enlightened by me. And we got to change that, right? So tell them about the German dude with a beanie and tell them he's cool. Even if it's not true, you know. Yeah, that would be really helpful. And that's all I have to say. As usual, I'm trying to answer as many comments as possible below. You let me know how you like this video. This was actually the first vocal video ever. I'm gonna do more if you like it. I see you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.
I left the scene, taking the highway. Blood on my hands, silver the